Hey, I'm right back with another video. It is 7:32 p.m. It is May 6th, Wednesday evening. Just had dinner, and so we're just kind of chilling out. My son's in his room, hanging out, talking with his friends. No, they're not physically here, but, you know, he has his little communication thing going. And of course, his mom just kind of sits around, twiddles her thumbs, and, you know, tries to look for things to do. So anyway, I wanted to make this video because I was thinking, you know, I remember when, I don't know when it was, maybe it was 2014, 2013. I remember having a conversation about people from the older generations, and I said, you know, it's not that, I think people from the older generations obviously have good ideas, and I'm sure they have good morals, and they have good traditions, and I'm not bashing that at all, okay? But a lot of times, you know, when you're dealing with people who are of a certain age, especially when it comes to issues relating to people's employment, you know, they're used to doing things how they remember it. And I fully understand that their memories are probably when, back to when, you know, they had to ask their husband to get them a credit card. If they wanted a job, their husband, you know, had to approve of those things. There was a time where that was going on, and that went on, I think, all the way up to, I think, around 1974, 75, somewhere around there. And then we started having laws that changed, okay, because, you know, some women were divorced for a good reason. You know, maybe they were abused, maybe their husband, you know, abandoned them or whatever. So we had women who needed to stand on their feet. And this created a lot of problems. And so, you know, women started getting their rights acknowledged. Now, there are still obviously problems with that today. There are still problems with women getting acknowledged, proper acknowledgement today. And, you know, there's still what they call a glass ceiling or whatever. But this is one of the issues that we run into when you're dealing with a lot of women who get targeted. There's also the matter of conduct, you know, like what goes on in the workplace, you know, what went on in the 1950s, early 60s, possibly even the late 40s, okay? Some people who are older, who may have been involved in my targeting, were around during that time period, working and everything, and they didn't think twice about maybe saying, you know, a thoughtless comment to a coworker or ganging up on someone. You know, I've heard stories from people who when I worked in the nursing home many years ago, from people who worked, and some of their stories, and they were actually quite interesting. Some were tragic, mind you, but laws weren't really in place. I mean, there was some little by little laws were being initiated slowly but surely, and mainly because it was like this point of where there was a lot of trial and error, where, you know, situations would occur in workplaces where somebody would be, you know, injured. Maybe they were injured physically. There was cases where that would take place. There was times where people were injured, like, you know, cheated out of monetary gain. Maybe they were working and somebody shut them out of employment, like blacklisting or whatever. And so people stood up and said, this isn't right. So then these laws get passed. And a lot of people aren't aware of these laws, okay? This is one of the reasons why I get frustrated with, like, human resource personnel, business owners and things in that nature, because I feel as though they should know this, okay? They do try to put it in the most simplest terms on these posters that you see hanging on the wall. You know, they'll just basically say, when you talk about federal or state law, they'll basically say, don't base, you know, employment termination, you know, what do you call it? Employment raises, bonuses, stuff based on these particular issues, and they'll list them. You know, don't base it off of race, religion, marital status, so on and so forth, okay? And a lot of people, they read through these things and they're like, well, I don't quite understand. Or maybe they read it and they forget it, or it dissolves, okay? But this is where this stuff comes into place, okay? And the reasons why. Okay, now on these posters, they don't really go into why. They just tell you this is what you're not supposed to do. Okay, but look at my situation, and now you'll see why. Okay, this is the reason why these things are supposed to be put in place and understood. Okay, and sometimes you'll get, I've never had, you know, been lucky enough to, you know, sit through a seminar or something like that where somebody explained it to me, okay? I mean, I had to look this stuff up myself, but there are some professionals who do go in, like I know, I think it's Fred Priory, they go through certain things like relating to sexual harassment, these kind of things. And I know people have had that kind of training. I know that they have. I know that they have because especially if you're a manager, I believe every 2 years or so you're supposed to go through this sexual harassment thing. And this is another issue relating to sexual harassment when you are basically, pointing somebody out saying, oh, this girl, she, like, I'm assuming that these people were pointing me out like, I was like a child, like I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like I'm, some woman who is in a work environment and people are saying gossiping things about me which aren't true. I don't look slutty at all. I don't, nobody can say that I do, okay? And if you do, something's wrong with you, okay? There's obviously a difference between what a slut looks like and what someone like me looks like, okay? There's nothing that even remotely looks that way. But, there was times where people felt like it was, you could easily say these sort of things to other people, and then women would gang up on a person or whatever. This is not appropriate behavior. Now, I can understand there's certain things that people, I don't think people should wear to work. Like, I don't think people should wear low-cut blouses. I don't think that they should. Okay, I don't think they should wear micro mini skirts. I think there's a lot of things that are a little too risque for the workplace, and I don't think I've worn those things. Okay, and I feel as though, especially because of the reasons of keeping somebody married, this is another issue. I think a lot of people don't think about, what that really means when you do something like this, okay? And it's very traumatizing for a person because, well, I don't need to go into why. But obviously, if you made a decision to leave someone and somebody does something behind the scenes to do otherwise, okay, you've already expressed that this person scares you, you're disturbed by some certain things about them, and then somebody's trying to hang on to you and then orchestrate a system where there's a bunch of other people who are trying to do the same thing. That is traumatizing. This is one of the reasons why I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with right now. And no, I would say that most people don't have an understanding of labor laws. They don't grasp them. They hear them, they read them, but when these situations come into place, they don't recognize them. The same issue when I had contact with the human trafficking organization here in this community. Everyone in this community knew what was going on. Okay, they knew that this person was being held against their will. This person was not able to negotiate their own job. This person wasn't being able to do this. This person was, sent way out in Buttonwillow to work a job. Okay, being isolated all the time, isolated at her workplace, isolated when she came home, and then she was being reported on by people in the community. Okay, now these are all telltale signs of somebody who is a victim of human trafficking. Not one person, okay, including the people from this organization, recognized what this is. So my problem is that we're dealing with people who either don't get it, or they think that you can make exceptions because you know certain people, but the certain people that I don't want to associate with. And see, this is where we have an issue. See, now where this issue lies, yes, I would say that my ex-family would be the number one people that I would look at and just want to bash their heads in, okay? But the ultimate responsibility lies on the employer. Why? And the reason why is because they're supposed to know. Okay, they have managers signing off saying that they know this sort of stuff. It's this kind of stuff, and it's bothersome. Now, who's to say that the air is cleared and all's well for me? I don't know that. Okay, all I know is that I go through cycles of trauma, cycles of fear, anxiety, extreme worry, and this would not have happened had, I had sent these information to my previous bosses telling them what was going on. I know they watch my videos, okay? And when you see that these people don't understand what you're saying, that they're literally assisting people to hold a woman captive, or put a system in place to assist people who are trafficking a human being, that becomes terrifying. So it's almost like somebody throwing me down in a basement. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs and nobody's doing anything. Instead, what they're doing is they're either poking at you, making jokes of it, making lighthearted jokes. It's not funny, especially for someone who is my age. Someone who is my age, who has already, okay, never mind the fact that, I'm 50 something years old, almost 50 years old. The fact that the years previous to this has been nothing but more trauma leading up to the ultimate trauma. When I realized that somebody was trying to force their religious views on me, somebody was trying to force me back into a marriage, somebody was trying to all of these things. Somebody was trying to literally hollow out my soul. All of these sort of disturbing things that came to me, and I understood it. Okay, when I realized this, it's been a long time coming. Okay, a long time coming. So when you're dealing with people of the older generation, this is no disrespect to them, because some of these people, they only know things based off of what was going on when they were younger. And it's not about breaking tradition, but it is about protecting women. Now, ideally, I think a lot of people, like a lot of old school people, maybe they had a great marriage. Maybe they had a wonderful, harmonious marriage, okay? But not all marriages are like that. Maybe they're not, okay? Sometimes women get not only emotionally, I was emotionally and financially abused, okay? Some people get emotionally, financially, and physically abused continuously, okay? Physical abuse every single day, okay? Along with other things that are absolutely terrifying for a woman to go through, okay? They need their jobs. They need to be able to stand on their feet. And why do they allow somebody is trying to get away from? Why do you sit there and let that happen? And in my mind, all I can think of is this is a very sick world. It is a sick and twisted world. Okay, and along with those thoughts, you can see why I have anxiety and panic attacks, on freeways and stuff like that. Okay, so I try to avoid those. I also experienced an anxiety attack here 2 days ago, here in my house, on my bed, and I was thinking about, it came the realization of what my ex-brother-in-law, Jeff, did. Okay, when it came to me, okay, it literally made me tremble and have to get down on the floor. Okay, it really disturbed me because, I realized that I don't know these people. Like, I can't sit there and say, oh, I can forgive them and be close to them and forget everything and reconnect the bond. The way I look at it is, I don't know you. Like, I don't know, or any of people in my family, because it's like this is a side of them that I never saw that is monstrous and terrifying to me. And it is something that, just like my ex-husband and everything else, my ex-employers who got involved in this, I don't ever want to see these people ever again. It is that much of a disturbance to me. That it's that deep, okay? It is extremely traumatic. So, sometimes people do things that are thoughtless. Like, they think maybe it's funny, it's kind of cheeky, let's get a laugh over this sort of thing. But when you're playing a sport with somebody's life, okay, and obviously, the people who got involved in this had very little value for my life, and it shows. So there's no way in the world you can come up to me and say, you know what, will you forgive me? And after all the years of people thinking, these same people who thought that something was off with me, they thought that I was something was mentally wrong with me, okay? They assumed this because I wasn't responding correctly in their mind to their harassment, their behavior, or whatever, or maybe they thought my little hobbies were weird or whatever, and because of that, they thought something was wrong with me, okay? But if you thought something was wrong with me and you allowed yourself to treat me in such an abusive manner, okay, like last December, before I got fired from my job, my illegal job setup, I went over to my ex-brother-in-law's house and my ex-sister Lisa's house. Now here's somebody, these two people are sitting around telling people that something's mentally off with me, okay? So I go over there and talk to them about this issue, and then I end up getting yelled at. You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to tell you what, if I was dealing with my sister or sibling or whatever, if they were accusing me of something or trying to get information or try to find out about their own life, okay, that was affecting their life, and if I wasn't guilty and I was trying to figure out, why is this person agitated? I haven't seen her in over a year. The very next time I see her, she's agitated. If I cared about this person, I would be concerned about their mental well-being. I would want them to calm down. This is what people who love their family members do. I would want them to calm down. I would want them to talk to me. I would want this thing cleared up, okay? Instead, I had my sister jump in my face, my ex-sister jump in my face and tell me and accuse me of saying that I threatened her child, which I never did. Okay? So you see these two-faced people, these people who play these double games with you, who throw you into systems that are, systematic forms of programs of abuse, okay? And then you're emotionally shattered. And these so-called good Christian people are happy to see you that way because their religion was full of shit in the first place. No, I didn't say God was full of shit. I'm saying that religious setup was a piece of shit that they wanted to drag me into and try to force me to adhere to, which I'm extremely offended by. So, no, I go through it because I want peace. I want closure. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like I want these people either like executed in my face so I know they're not going to come back and bother me ever again, or they get thrown in jail or something along those lines to give me the peace, or call me and tell me you're never going to bother me again. Because I'm at a point right now where I don't have peace of mind anymore because of the intrusion of these people. I moved here in 2000 on my own, looking for work. I was ready to go to work, and I started working. And, I never once asked these people to, help me find a job, do anything like that. And so these people come in, they use me as like some sort of scapegoat, that's what, my place is, a family. And they use me as a scapegoat, create all these problems, right? And then they're going to sit here and say, well, in order to go back to work, you have to do this, enjoy our religion, blah, 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 blah. When I never asked them to be a part of it in the first place. You see what I'm saying? This a form of abuse is something, it's almost unspeakable. It's unspeakable. And it's wrong, And this is my issue. It's like, these people, I don't know these people. Okay, I'm terrified of these people. Okay, because obviously they have lived double lives to where, they think this sort of stuff is funny. They think it's okay. They don't have any morals about them. Okay, if you would do something like that, you would be capable of killing somebody. Okay, if you're going to sit here and take away somebody's job that they never asked you for, I never asked you for anything. Never asked you for anything. And I will tell you, I know. Okay, maybe I may not have been successful if I moved here to Bakersfield, but I know that if I would have moved to Los Angeles without these people's intrusion, okay, with the energy and the confidence that I had when I was younger and the belief in myself, I would have been fine. I would have had a better life without these people. I would have had a better life without these people. But anyway, the moral of the story is that, I would like to see more people who work in these particular roles take more responsibility when they see, people have these family arrangements. Okay, family arrangements are not necessarily a bad thing, but when it becomes an issue of domestic stalking, then it does. Okay, then the human resource person should sit here and say, if they notice this person having problems at work, getting bullied at work, having restrictions put on these people at work, are you not asking any questions? Are you not asking any questions? I know it's easy to turn a blind eye when you're getting a paycheck and all this other stuff, and maybe your boss seems like he's on board with it. Okay, maybe he's fine, bullying and somebody, but who stands up for the person who is in these sort of traps? these life-sucking traps. Who stands up for those people? You know, there's ways that you can report these people anonymously, and I really do encourage you to do that. Look around your workplace, okay? When you see somebody who has special restrictions being put on them that everyone else doesn't, okay? If you see somebody being pressured at work to accept a political affiliation, a religious belief system, whatever, okay? If other women are able to wear skirts, blouses, dresses, pantyhose, stockings, whatever, dye their hair, wear makeup, blah, 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 just about every other woman is encouraged, or not necessarily encouraged, but allowed to do so. But there's this one person who seems to have all these restrictions on them that no one else does. Okay, why is this person being dehumanized in the public? Why? Ask those questions. Okay? And if you are afraid of losing your job, report them anonymously. Because there's a lot of women who have children to support, who need to take care of themselves, and they don't need to be put in these situations. It's a very serious, it's a life-threatening situation. Okay? And if you're a really good Christian, you would think about this. I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope everyone has a good evening. I'll be back with another video some other time later. Take care. Bye-bye.